Hey, Programming 12. So you are now well versed in the the code of the Asteroids project that we've been looking at in this playlist. And in order to help you further explore it, I have a whole bunch of tasks for you to do. So this is available in Teams, and you're going to be exploring these. I'm going to make some videos to give you hints about how to do these features. But ultimately, it's going to be up to you to create these things. And yeah, but don't hesitate to ask for help as you go through. In this video, I wanted to focus on no, not making your asteroids look beautiful, but making them split when you blow them up. So I'm not going to show you the exact details about that, but I would like to share with you some information so that you're not just hanging out there in space, floating about without any idea what you're doing. So just to be clear, when I have an asteroid, I want to be able to shoot it, pow, and not just disappear, but it should split into multiple asteroids. I think my asteroids are a bit on the small side right now compared to how they were earlier. Oh, that's so big. I don't even know what to say about that. Oh God, they're giant. Clearly too big. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So here's what you need to know about the splitting of the asteroids. First of all, the asteroid splitting is mostly about creating new objects and having a constructor available for you to place them where you want to place them. So right now, I'll tell you right in our code here for check for collisions, this is where we're going to be making the new asteroids. We're probably going to make them somewhere in here because this is the moment where, we've looped through objects, we've found a bullet, and we've determined that its distance between the bullet object and the asteroid is less than the sum of their radii. So in other words, mathematically speaking, we have a bullet we're colliding with. And so this is the code that reacts to that explosion. So right now we set the asteroid's lives to 0 and the bullet's lives to 0, so those things get removed from the game. Great. So if I want to add new asteroids into the world, here's where I do it. You could say something like objects.add new asteroid. This is exactly what we do when we make a bullet, right? Like in our spaceship, if you look at when we shoot, where's that? There it is. Like we say objects.add new bullet. So just our list of objects, we're going to add a new bullet. Same thing we can do with asteroid. You could even add 2 if you wanted to make it split into 2. But this constructor really isn't up to the task. We are missing the ability to tell it where to go. If I run this as it is, you can see when we shoot, oh, I'm bad at aiming. Oh, well, there you go. It disappeared, and we do seem to have more asteroids. Like, I have more than I started with. But, like, notice that just so they don't come out of the existing asteroid. They just spawn randomly, which is a useful thing to do at the beginning of the game, but not very useful for our current purposes of splitting the asteroid into 2. Also, they don't get smaller, so we're missing out those 2 features. And the answer to solving this is we really need to make a constructor that will allow us to do this. So right now our asteroid constructor is simply, hey, make a new game object at this kind of random location on the screen. We're going to set its velocity. I think this is velocity to some, default thing, and then we'll kind of mess around with it. We will set its diameter, and I added in some rotation speed stuff to make them kind of, tumble through space as they travel. But that's not exactly what we want. I mean, some of this is good. This isn't bad, but then, well, I think we shouldn't just randomly put them anywhere. I would love to be able to tell an asteroid where to go. I want to say, hey, can you go to where the old asteroid was? And to do that, we're going to need to make a new asteroid constructor, just like this, asteroid. And you're probably going to put in some parameters here. Consider putting in some variables, some parameters to accept either an x and a y location or a p vector that will represent the location where it should go. And then you can use the various superclass constructors at our disposal to either send those coordinates along or send the p vector along. You could also send it Vx and Vy or velocities, so you can get that started. And that's not really that different, but you probably want to calculate that velocity. Like right now we're just doing it random, but maybe you're gonna figure out what will be an ideal velocity. Like maybe they'll split in half, in different directions or something. So yeah, so we're gonna make a new constructor, and that will allow us to do something like, not just say new asteroid, but we could send it like location.x, location.y, and then we could say, hey, go to the location of the dying asteroid. So that would be fantastic. Obviously, this doesn't work. I'm just kind of thinking out loud, and you're going to make it work. So what else can we add in constructor? Well, remember, they have to get smaller, right? So what we could do is also, in addition to either just sending like the location or a copy of the location or location.x, location.y, however you think you would like to do that, we could also send it like how many lives the asteroid currently has. We could say, hey, we'll send either lives, or we could send lives -1. That might be great. This is an int. So basically, if the asteroid that's checking for collisions has 3 lives, it would send over the number 2. So that when we create the new asteroid with this additional constructor, we could set its lives to a smaller number. That's what's going to make the asteroids smaller. So right now my asteroids start with 3 lives. That's probably more than the game really suggests. The original game has only 3 stages of asteroids, but my new constructor could just take that parameter, whatever parameter I'm going to call it, and I could just set the lives to that instead, so that this is the way we're sort of making them smaller. And really, that's it. We're going to just put in this code, which is really small amount of additional code, and we're going to create a new constructor. And that allows us to make a whole splitting asteroids kind of concept. Constructors can be really quite useful and quite powerful and allow you to do interesting effects. So yeah, there you go. There's something new that you might not have known about constructors. So go ahead and try to make that happen. And if you're working hard on it and you still aren't able to put the pieces of the puzzle together, call me over. We'll work on it together. All right. Thanks, Programming 12.